Manchester City failed to score yesterday in front of an almost full Etihad. Pep Guardiola, who spoke after the game, appeared to be in full backtrack mode, said he felt guilty that they couldn't put on a show for the fans, and afterwards denied that he'd ever questioned the loyalty of the Manchester City fans. He said, "I didn't say anything wrong after Leipzig. I said we had an incredibly tough game against Southampton, and we would need the support of our fans." Well, it's not exactly what he said, because what he said in an interview with BT Sport was, "I would like more people to come to the next game on Saturday," and that's a little bit different to what he articulated yesterday. So I think he's trying to reinterpret what actually happened. Now, there may well have been a misunderstanding here. It might have been lost in translation. Maybe, I think sometimes when he's expressing himself after a game, heightened emotions, etc., you have to understand that it's not his first language to communicate in, but it does come across a little bit like he is tone deaf, because if you're in touch with your club and your support, and you know Manchester City, you know that Manchester City get a little bit of sniping and banter from other clubs about the number of fans that attend matches. I'm not saying he has to be across all the little disputes and details and silly little petty tribal rivalries, but I do think as a football manager, you should never, ever even give a hint of being detached from your fan base. And I think on Wednesday night, he kind of did that.
Yeah, there was it wasn't even veiled, was it? It was like, come on, this is a Champions League night. Why isn't it Etihad full? Man City fans haven't got a great relationship, have they, with the Champions League because of the financial fair play. They feel that, they're being sort of ruled against, and then they won their case back. So there's that. You can have so many home games in a period of time where some people might be able to afford to go to the Etihad. And you said there, when the fella from the Supporters Association came out and give him the reasons, these people have been going to watch Man City play for 40, 50 years, not just in the Premier League era. So there was a little bit of, I think, of Guardiola looking around the Etihad and going, come on, we need more. This is a Champions League night. If we're going to be seen as a big club.
Let's be completely honest about it. This is a club, Manchester City, that are well established in terms of on the field and in the city. The work that they do in the community is outstanding. As someone who lives in that city, I see their impact on the area surrounding the stadium, but also the whole city. They get involved in school sports. Manchester United do that too, but they've had a really strong imprint in terms of their impact on youngsters in that city. And I do think that over time their fan base will increase because their success, the attraction of some great stars and managers and players, but ultimately they're at the early part of that journey, and they're playing catch up with a club like Manchester United across the road who have done this for the last 50 years.
Well, globally, definitely, they're not seen as a massive football club globally, because you said they're in the first sort of 8 to 10 years on that path. In the next 8 to 10 years, they will be seen, if they win the Champions League, which is their next step on, for the global awareness and all around the world, then they will be seen as a massive football club up there with Manchester United and Liverpool. At the moment, they're not, because they're on that first step of their journey.
I also think that he could just have been a little bit more diplomatic with his language towards families and supporters who spend a lot of money going to games. We dared discuss it around the Charity Shield, and got lots of people saying about the trains and the expense, and they couldn't afford to go to the game because of the number of times that Manchester City get to Wembley because of the success that they have. And the Champions League games aren't included in the season ticket price, so you have to pay more. And when you are as successful as Pep Guardiola is, you create a team that play a lot of games, especially towards the end of the season, and you might have to pick and choose, and you know which ones you're going to pick and choose, not the first game in the Champions League, but the later ones. And finally on this, and Perry brought it up, I think it's important to sort of point out that I thought Pep Guardiola was woefully out of order when stoking the fires with Kevin Parker, who is the General Secretary of the Manchester City Official Supporters Club. Kevin heard the interview that Pep did on Wednesday night. Kevin was asked in his position as the General Secretary what he thought about it, and he said this. He said, it did surprise me. I'm not sure what it's really got to do with him. He's absolutely the best coach in the world, but in the nicest possible way, I think you should stick to that. Now, Kevin was obviously sticking up for the fans. Kevin was saying, come on, let's not get into this. We don't need to bring this into the discussion. Pep and the people around him should have killed it there and then. sorry, there was a misunderstanding. He misunderstood me. I maybe have misunderstood him. I'll talk to him. We'll have a chat about it. And, I know the supporters are fantastic. But instead, he doubled down. He referred to Kevin as this guy. This guy has been supporting Manchester City and been at Manchester City for a very long time, by the way. He said, I'm so upset, grumpy and disappointed that this guy pretend to tell me what I have to say and what I have to do. Now, obviously, you know what happens next. There's a Twitter pile-on. Kevin isn't a guy with a vast media operation behind him. He's just got 5,000 followers and he's a Twitter user on his iPhone. I can only imagine the vitriol that he was then sent. He has said as much in the last few days on his Twitter feed. Pep could have dampened down those flames. He didn't, and I think that was classist. It was a moment to act as the bigger man, to take it on the chin. He is a wonderful coach, but I'm not sure he's come across as a great bloke there.
But the thing is, he didn't need to turn it into a him or me. That's what he tried to into. If the fans aren't happy with me, and I'll go. And not one Man City fan has ever said they're not happy with Pep Guardiola, because they realise that he was brought there to take them onto that next level with trying to dominate the Champions League, maybe win it 2 out of 3 seasons. So, and to put, is it Kevin you say?
Kevin Parker,
yeah. Kevin is basically as the villain where he didn't need to. He didn't need to portray him as a villain. And you say Kevin's been going there probably 30, 40 years before Man City had the injection of the Abu Dhabi money.
And look, no one's saying that Pep isn't a fantastic football coach and Pep doesn't come up with great solutions to big problems that maybe others can't solve. But he's also not beyond question. He's not the only person in the world that you can't turn around and say, actually, that wasn't quite right to. I mean, he's a good football coach, a brilliant football coach. He's an amazing football coach, but he's not the Messiah.
I think he can't be right on everything, can he? His opinion cannot be right. And what you have to do as well is if to say, when you have like discussions and arguments, you have to respect the other person's opinion and get the angle that they're coming from. And I don't think he did that with Kevin at all. I don't think he realised that angle. Because basically the 37,500 who turned up he should be thanking them. Wouldn't you say, thank you for your support for this midweek game. I know there's a lot of, as you said, a lot of league games in the Champions League, without saying, can we have more people coming, please? You can thank the people for their efforts for coming.